Today's gangs of desk jockeys, they roam the streets during midday hours, terrifying innocent contributors to innovation with a Gen Z disregard, stinking feet and fervent stride. I have often wondered whether the piece of said stride is actually taking them somewhere for any particular purpose, or that they just like the thought of frightening other pedestrians enough to drop their coffee and nick it.
What?
In the dark, fledgling days of the 1990s, when the technology-dependent postmodern age of today was more a babe in arms, a newly rejuvenated nanny state, they continued to decide which way you should go in its great and bountiful wisdom. What was best for the spiritual progression of the populace?
Was it just to withhold the ransom extorted from the people?
An outlook that flourished under Thatcher's Conservative government at the time. It was DWP fashion to shovel innocent people from the streets with little concern for their moral fibre. Individuals who were in the process of developing as human beings were sifted through bureaucratic sieves into a vat of reconditioning propaganda, sort of indoctrination which continues even to this day. Out onto the great conveyor belt of pigeonholes they would plop and found themselves segregated to industrial and office work. Henry Ford would have been so proud. Branching out into specialist knowledge of filing and admin skills, an area that is now redundant with the advent of computer platforms and internet structures, indoctrinated to the recruitment and business sector, which is said to be the way forward in the new generation of office-based customer services. Although still prolific, it has now been overtaken in this regard by online services and telephone sales. Unlike today's desperate scramble for employment before Starmer steps on the incomes of all us like a bug underfoot. The basic wage for an average trainee worker is depressingly low. Rachel Reeves' tax hikes cut revenues. It is, however, interesting to note that the Executive Office Rex has a considerably higher standing in the overall dynamics of his environment. If we took out a camera during the day, it is highly likely that we would not see the specimen. Despite the curious elusiveness, the Executive Rex does have a defining characteristic that has enabled PowerPointologists to nail down his native habitat. This fascinating subject has no particular base of operations. Preferring to split his time between various nesting habits, the Executive Rex keeps a firm eye on the performance of his primary team leaders who are dotted around this heartland of his fields, where these team leaders nurture the fledgling aspects of the younger worker drones. Now, this is not to say that this particular variation of the Executive Rex is the only breed of the species, but it is a prolific one. Now, getting back into an upnote for a second, it rests with me to stress that I have no objection per se to worker drones trolling the customer or customer service based market in our system. Such routine contributions are a staple of our marketplace.
Look, it quite categorically states in the Working Practices Manual
Simply that a particular viewpoint is the objection to doing that within a sealed environment, sectioned off from the real world. An office worker finds themselves taught to produce synopsises on reports drawn up by faceless researchers from statistics torn from a data screen of dead entry code. This is not a vocation sought for. These unfortunate people are conditioned over time to like it, indoctrinated by the modern reality that the attainment of wealth is key to progression in life. They feel that choice is not an option. Some of these workers may have educational prospects in whatever form. However, the office drone remains a prevalent force in their lives. This festering growth is unfortunate for the poor souls who find themselves captured within it as a growing sector. Insurance companies, employment agencies, estate management firms, PR houses and marketing project venue firms litter the streets of our towns today with less regard for the economy they pretend to uphold than they have for their own ugly facade. Banks of chilling 50s office blocks have grown around the need for office space over the last 80 years to such an extent today that one might believe that such an organisation has become more important to maintain than house prices.
Are you proposing to slaughter our tenants? Does that not fit in with your plans?
They continue to push up through their proliferation. It is unfortunately simply indicative of the corporate disease that proliferates the governmental structure and sociological stigma it has created. A pathogen that surrounds us every day and threatens to consume personalities and dignity alike. People talk today of the banking system and the finances which its collusion with the corporations are robbing us of. Not many consider the interpersonal ramifications of today's policies are creating.
I see, so to sum up, the British are come under a crisis, the rest of the world is unstable, and all hairdressers are fairies.
Perhaps I should ask Henry Ford's great-grandson to make me a pigeonhole that I can hide in until it's all over. Give us a good clicking.
Shakanaka.